So here we randomly start discussing on why your job search probably remains a futile exercise. So here we are going to discuss about the general principles involved in this resume search, why some people succeed and why some don't. We look at it from the HR's perspective, and then we'll take you through some real life examples of resumes that do make the cut and the ones that don't. So, navigating through the job market is no less than a Herculean task these days. The hike does come at a cost. You need to deal with scores of rejections and no responses. A sequence that often leaves people frustrated because they really wonder that what is there which is lacking in me, that I'm not able to grab the right eyeballs. And the job that is easy to get is often not worth getting in the first place. So you might get a job as a CA fresher in some offshore process or in some random accounting and compliance process that makes you effectively a munim. So if your resume isn't attracting the right set of eyeballs, it's probably a time to step back and reflect on what's going wrong. Are your efforts landing up in a black hole? Sometimes this is quite the irony of life. We keep working hard and hard, but finally we realize that all of that was landing up in a black hole because it's always effort into strategy into luck. The strategy was not really the right one. Now think of a resume as a brand ambassador. It's the loudest and the first message that you send to any prospective employer. It has to make an impact. It's got to induce that classical love at first sight. One way to evoke that is magic of using a voice that reflects you as a person, literally. So while it remains a MS Word document or a PDF document, but it will reflect you as a person and tell a story rather than some standard keywords and a format filled traditional resume, which fails miserably in helping you with your job search. So, are you using those same jargons that thousands of other job seekers use, so that the only thing that's unique in your resume is your name, your address, your company, and your employment tenure? So, it's Swati who works with Accenture for the last 1.5 years and she stays in Kolkata, and vis-a-vis it's Payal who works with Accenture in Bangalore in the same process and she's been working since the last 9 months, and otherwise there is nothing unique about those stories. So how would, let's imagine for a moment, how would an HR manager react to these standardized run-of-the-mill resumes that he or she is flooded with on a daily basis? So a typical HR who would be into recruitment and have his or her email ID floated on social media would resume have around 500 resumes flooding his or her inbox on a daily basis. So does your resume have any chance to shine through this stack of applications? There is just so much that you can offer rather than just those stereotype lines. 9 years of experience in internal audit, and this standard motivated self-starter status. Your story is your brand in the end. It's a collection of your life experiences that no one has or will ever live. Own it, sing it. It's you. You've got nothing to apologize for and no one to impress. Your life is not an assortment of standard building blocks, a CA certification, an MBA certification coupled with MS Excel and some computer training. You are a living person with a unique value system, your own perspective on things. Not everyone needs to be like you or understand you. Your job is to find the person who do. Branding yourself the same way as others is harakiri. However, let's face it, it's not your fault because resume formats are passed down generations, often like a tradition. And so therefore, you are naturally induced to use that same jargon that's geared to kill, sometimes through boredom. So do you really think that it creates an impact if someone reads in your resume that you're a results oriented professional? Countless other people think of it the same way. Results oriented professional is such a lame and overused phrase. For once, experiment with a phrase like oxygen breathing biped, a person who walks on two legs, a creature basically. Lols, at least that's the way you would stand out. So look at this resume. Look at this resume of a hypothetical name called Aditi Kochar, where she starts off by describing her career objective as a newly qualified chartered accountant who's looking for an opening in a fast paced, growth oriented organization to craft a responsible position in the field of accounts, taxation, and financial management, where I can apply my skills and contribute to the growth of the organization, ready to work in a team and have all the essentials of a good team player with effective personal skills, cooperative nature, and broad based interest oriented nature of thinking. Trash. I've gone through scores of resume and you'd find that, it's just one of these 8 or 9 standard career objectives that finds a copy paste into your resume. Ah, it doesn't add any value there. Now look at the way she structured her professional qualifications. Final exam passed in May 2012. NX percentage. PCC November 2009. CPT August 2007. And instead of Aditi, it could just be Reshmi, Payal, or Ram, or Sham, or Satya. I mean, it's only these terms will change, or these percentages will change. Nothing else. Nothing about which subject really enticed you, that you really loved SFM out of everything else. The capital asset pricing model was what caught your imagination, or indirect taxes, especially the service tax part, was what caught your attention during your tuition classes and led to your scoring a 60-64 in your indirect taxes. That would have been a story, and this, it just fails. Academic qualification, she has hailed from a particular college and from a particular school with the same standard percentages 80, 90, and if now this could just be JD Birla or Xavier's. Yes, the word Xavier's does evoke some respect, but now it's 8:00 in the morning, 8:00 in the evening. It would not be that phenomenal. Goes to her articleship and talks about preparation of accounts and finalization of financial statements of small and medium-sized enterprises, tax, statutory audit and internal audit of SMEs and a team. And then she says she was involved in the preparation of individual tax returns and responsible for getting them filed. Now compare this with a story where someone says that I was part of a small or medium sized firm and I went to a hotel, let's say Hotel Kenilworth in Calcutta, and I looked at service tax assessments and found out that the company had been periodically repeating those same statutory violations that led it to pay penalty. I scanned the way the company was taking input service tax credit and found out leakages to the extent of 32 lakhs. Now that tells me a story about your articleship experience, that you came, you saw, and you conquered, literally. So as an article who was earning like 2000 rupees per month as stipend, you went to a client and found out service tax leakages to the extent of 32 lakhs. Or when you talked about filing of individual tax returns, why could this have been structured as filed 450 tax returns in a span of 28 days? Because I was the only person who was leading the team. Or probably there was no one else in the team because all of them had gone for studying for CA final exams. Basic proficiency in MS Office, internet-based applications, Tally, 100 hours computer training under ICI curriculum. Again, remember I talked about some basic keyword-filled skills and certifications? Every chartered accountant who comes out of this curriculum has undergone this 100-hour compulsory computer training under ICI curriculum. What different did you do? If you look at this, for example, this guy has worked again in that small and medium sized firm, let's say PK Lila and Company. So he talks about statutory tax audits of private and public limited companies, partnerships and proprietorship firms, trust, government organizations, filing of income tax returns, drafting of replies for income tax cases. And he talks about Ray Agro as his key assignment. And I, as a prospective employer, might not have heard of Ray Agro, and the obvious human tendency will be to write it off and say, I think it's just some Ray Agro, some small size firm. And here he comes back and tells me that it's an NSE, BSC, LSE, and SGX listed company, India's largest processor and exporter of basmati rice. Wow! 7 wholly owned subsidiaries with a consolidated turnover of 9,500 crores for the year ended March 2013. And I was one of the key team members. Again, it's some bit of a story for conducting the start audit and finalization of accounts for specific years. So, where did I play a prominent role? I certified financial information to be included in offer documents for various capital raising exercises by the company, including FCCBs, ECBs, and GDRs. Doesn't that excite me and want me to meet this person? So when I talk about Ram Sarup Industries, I say that it's a listed companies in the field of pig iron, steel wire, TMT bars, and the generation of power, and having a turnover of INR 2000 crores for the year ended 31st March 2010. Again, one of the key team members for conducting the statutory audit, helped in preparation of documents of application for Board of Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, BIFR. Now this again entices the eyeballs. Wow, BIFR as an article, he's worked on those critical areas, Ray System Agro, and again talks about this again company having 250 retail outlets operating in the e-commerce space and 400 crores. So why I might not have heard about Race 16 Retail Limited, because it just sounds another of those run-of-the-mill companies. When I hear three stories, 250 retail outlets, e-commerce, and 400 crores, I just can't write off this company. And then he says he works with National Orient Insurance Company, which is again one of the renowned companies, and was in the statutory audit of Kolkata Subdivision 6. It's so specific. I really kind of visualize that this guy has gone to Kolkata Subdivision 6 and audited for the purpose of consolidation at regional office level. Compare Aditi's resume with this, her articleship experience with this. You'll find that probably when you meet Aditi, she's far more sincere. She might have done far more work than this guy, but the way this guy has structured the articleship bit of it, I would, as a prospective recruiter, really want to meet this person. So look at another bunch. When you might have worked in a Tata Motors, you and you're not very sure that whether the public has worked in Tata Motors Finance Limited. So you talk about it's a 100% subsidiary of Tata Motors, a pioneer in vehicle finance, 3 million customers, 40% market share, posted FY13 revenues of 2,742 crores. That tells me a story. So when you talk about AVP accounts, it talks about ERP improvement, driving improvement, and implementation of automation in various accounting and reporting areas, operational excellence by optimizing the flow of financial transactions, SAP based financial statements in accordance with IGAP with respect to their accuracy and reliability. And what were the key areas? Accruals, identifying potential risk elements, and adopting mitigation strategies. Then timely and accurate computation of NIM cost and preparation of IGAP disclosures and schedules. Isn't it better? When this person is an EA2 MD and CEO, he talks about assisting senior management in key decision making activity, analysis and presentation of key business functions, review of business decisions, and working on special assignment projects. Now this is kind of global gyan, not really catching the eyeballs. But when he talks about his achievement, a new revenue generating business line implemented within 6 months under a new vertical. Wow! Saved collection cost by exact 9%. So this guy is not hoodwinking, implementing cost effective measures and implementing handheld devices for collections. Wow. Would I want to meet him? Probably yes. Implemented Tata leadership practices, scoring methodology, for measuring the performance of an employee effective FY 2012-13 was a TBM assessor, and when he was in state head commercial for West Bengal and Sikkim, he was instrumental in reducing branch capital cost by 14% through strategic tie-ups, reduction in repossessed stock by 87%, by effective management and timely auction of the asset, and generated additional revenue of 2.23 crores through effective auction sale of repossessed assets, highest in the country by any state. Does make an impact, and in case your resume is filled with such stories, you've really stood out from the rest. How the caveat here is that a friendly and a conversational resume will not strike success with search algorithms. They are designed to work on keywords. So often the approach of any recruiter would be to log on to a Naukri.com and search for some standard keywords. And that's the reason where if you look at this resume, at the beginning of the resume, we've pulled in some keywords, core competencies, financial reporting, strategy and business planning, budgets, stakeholder management, commercial and controlling, corporate governance, leading business critical projects, process optimization, change management. This was the reason. Why? Because if someone would go to a Naukri.com and search based on some keywords, there is a high probability that this conversational resume still comes up. So it's really important that you catch the eyeballs of your prospective employer, that you search for ways and means to reach out to him or her rather than the anonymous techno-mechanical black hole recruiting portal where job seekers will fill out an online job application. So we worked on both ways. So we've looked at the storytelling part of it. We've looked at how we bunch some keywords into our resume. Now you've got a resume that speaks to your hiring manager directly in a human voice, literally. Your job search is far more targeted, more direct and personal, and removed from the keyword obsessed application tracking system. However, while we've talked about this wonderful strategy so far, remember that even the best of resumes will not cut the ice with each and every prospect. But for the ones it does, it certainly opens gates to a conversation that traditional keyword filled resumes won't. So once you have this in place, it's time to reach out to your prospects and say, yes, boss, this is the sort of business pain that I can solve for you. This answer is far more crucial than all your endless skills and certifications. You're a pain solver first and foremost. So this guy said, yes, repossessed stocks, I went and auctioned them. I improved business processes. I improved on KPIs. I reduced costs. Make that problem and its solution your focus. Have dozens of such stories ready. Tell the interviewer in vivid terms how you came, saw and conquered in past assignments. So when you talked about this, you said, okay, when I was in Bharti Airtel, I prepared ERP based revenue systems, did this, and the achievement was migration of revenue accounting from MS Excel based system to an online system with Oracle interface, thus bringing out key improvements in accuracy and completeness. So once I did that in Kolkata and West Bengal, this similar methodology was operationalized around 20 circles. Again, it reinforces the fact. Make that problem and its solution your focus. Have dozens of stories ready. Tell the interviewer in vivid terms how you came, saw and conquered. Well, there'll be certainly roadblocks because some HRs are so used to using this word, oh, we are currently not hiring. That's artificial. You can't help it. Or some companies might actually be going through tough times and there could be a real hiring freeze. Uninterested HRs who are themselves frustrated with their lives. He himself is wanting to make a move, not being able to do that. Why should he entertain you? He's so frustrated. But winners will see light at the end of the tunnel. So it's time to reinvent yourself. You are mighty and in pain. Man is in pain.